Reasons to be excited. Werewolf by Night. Yes, folks. Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. Werewolf by Night. Got a comic for this. I have mentioned this previously, quite a while ago when I think it first got mentioned. This is a sort of a Halloween special on the Disney Plus channel. It's a movie. It's a proper movie based on the original Marvel comic book character, Jack Russell. Yes, you heard that right. We've got a werewolf whose actual name is Jack Russell. You couldn't write this, could you? Well, someone did, obviously. But it came out in about 1972, I think. And I had a few of the comics when I was a kid. Werewolf by Night, because it's genuinely a horror story. It is a very gothic sort of nasty, snarling, ravenous beast. But he's a good guy, mostly. But during the phase of the full moon, so for 3 nights, he's got to lock himself away to protect the population. But he also, if I remember rightly, he seemed that someone gives him the ability to become a werewolf at will. But he's still, and when he's doing it at will, he's actually okay. He's fighting crime. He's a superhero. But during the lunar phase, it's unpredictable. So he still has to lock himself away then, if I remember rightly. And the whole idea is that this poor Jack Russell, he's actually descended from Transylvanians. Oh yes, that neck of the woods again, eh? And Grigory Rusov, not Russell, Rusov is his great-great-grandpappy sort of thing, who got bitten by a female lycanthrope in about 1725 or something like that. And the curse got passed down through the bloodline. And Jack Russell, that's the anglicised version of Rusov. They've gone to America. Someone kills his mum. His mum tells him what his destiny is and all this sort of stuff. It's real legacy. You are a werewolf, Jack. And so Wolfman Jack, literally. And he becomes a crime fighter. And he does join throughout the Marvel sort of pantheon, the way these things go on. He joins the League of Monsters, I think, and the Midnight Suns, and they fight off a zombie invasion, an alien invasion. And he also, get on this, this is Jack Russell, he somehow or other gets the Punisher, Frank Castle, and turns him into Frankencastle. Look, I'm not making this up, folks, I'm not. So Frank Castle, the Punisher, does become a kind of zombified Frankenstein monster type thing. Crazy. But this sort of one-off movie, and it's directed by Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino, one of the busiest movie composers ever. He's always doing, there's movies dropping left, right and centre, and he's done the score for them, and I love his scores. Well, he is now turning his hand to directing, and he's directed this for Marvel and Disney Plus. And it looks amazing. I don't yet know if he's done the score. I presume he has, but is that, is he attempting too much there? Is he biting off more than he can chew? By directing a movie and also doing the score for it. Because I've looked at the cast and the crew and all that, and I can't, no one's listed down who's done the score for it. But I would be very surprised if it wasn't Giacchino himself, because it's his sort of thing. Anyway, the trailer for this dropped overnight, and wow, I love it. And for those people who start knocking Marvel, it's always the same old shit with Marvel. They never do anything different. They never rock the boat. I think they have this time. Oh, I know, they've done horror before. You've got, let's not look into Sony owns Morbius. Oh, by the way, Jack Russell as Werewolf by Night does meet Morbius as well, the living vampire. And he meets other Man-Thing. Yeah, that's the Marvel version of Swamp Thing for DC. Man-Thing. And he's in this trailer. It's a split-second shot, but you see Man-Thing. Wow. So, the trailer comes out, and it's crazy, it's chaotic, it really is. They've done it in a very sort of grindhouse style with celluloid burns and pops and stuff and then the actual film burns up at the end, and it's in black and white as well. Now, I do not know if the film itself is actually in black and white as well. I think that would be great. But the film does look, it's hyper stylized, and it's done in sort of homage to the old 1930s and 40s Universal horrors, which is great. You guys know how much I love all that. There's the Wolfman there, Lon Chaney Jr. from Universal's 1941, the Wolfman. And we have the American Werewolf there. We have the Benicio del Toro remake of the Wolfman there behind me. And we have it's Jack Goodman for American Werewolf. David. David Kessler, the Kessler Wolf. It's his Bezzy mate who gets savaged on the Yorkshire moors. Anyway, so it's done in the style of 1930s and 40s Universal horror, black and white, and it's very OTT. I like it a lot. We'll have a little look at it, and I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way, because why not? If this film's harking back to the halcyon days of the old creaky black and white creature features, of yore, then I will eschew all technology, and I'll just bring the camera around and turn it around so you can have a look at it on this screen over here. I won't do any sort of picture-in-picture shenanigans, mainly because I can't. But interestingly enough, you do see the werewolf in this, you do, but not particularly well. And you'll see like a hairy arm and claws, you'll see a snapshot of a hairy beast and all that, like, and that's just when my kilt blows up on a windy day. Oh, speaking of which, there's American Werewolf there, and the kilt we're wearing, it's the Hunting MacLeod. Yes, Hunting MacLeod. Cheers, you all, folks. It's done in it's a bit surreal, it's a bit jokey, the acting seems a bit sort of on the nose and OTT, but no one's taking it too seriously. So the tone of this looks kind of crazy, but I like it though. And the story, well, you gather from this, some, I don't know, baroness has amassed a bunch of renowned supernatural hunters in this country estate, this huge mansion house or castle, baronial seat, I don't know. And but she says, one amongst you is a monster. One of you is the werewolf. Now, what does that remind you of? Before I even show it, what does that remind you of? One of my favourite werewolf movies of all time is The Beast Must Die. Amicus, early 74, I think it was. Peter Cushing, Calvin Lockhart. Michael Gambon. My God, I love that movie. I've reviewed it on the channel way back when I think I was only young when I first started out in this farrago of a sideline. I love it, and that's the story of a big game hunter on his island idyll, and he brings in all these suspects because wherever these people are, there's werewolf killings. So he says one of them is definitely a werewolf, but I've hunted everything in all my life. But this is the biggest prey of all, a werewolf. And that's the movie with the werewolf break in it, which is the little hokey gimmick which they put in there. So towards the end of the movie, the film just stops and you have a freeze frame of like a stone effigy of a snarling werewolf. And then this narration comes out and says like, this is the werewolf break. Yes, he says werewolf, and I hate that. It's werewolf, not werewolf. There's no I in it anywhere. It's werewolf, but he goes, this is the werewolf break. Now you've seen all the clues, you've seen all the evidence. Now you can decide who is the werewolf. And then it resumes and you find out who the werewolf is. But it's great. And I've always said that if I was ever given the chance to make a movie, like that's ever going to happen, I want to remake that. I've got a lot of ideas for how that could be updated, how you could really exploit that idea of a hunter going after a werewolf in a trapped environment where the tables will be turned, and how you can bring it into a more modern sort of vernacular. And yeah, quite a few ideas for that. But anyway, this appears to have beaten me to it because that's clearly the plot of this movie. But you've got, what's her name? I think it's Elsa Bloodstone, who's another renowned character in the sort of dark Marvel horror sort of thing. And she is impervious to vampire bites because she has the blood gem or bloodstone running through her veins. I don't know either. But in the whole Marvel sort of epochal saga, odyssey of all of this, like Jack Russell, you've got to laugh when you hear that. Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, when he meets all these other characters and they form allegiances and alliances, they end up going against Dracula himself and his hordes of the undead and his bid to take over the world and all that kind of stuff. So it's huge, but it brings Ghost Rider and God, who else? Somebody else as well. Ghost Rider, Morbius, they join with him with Werewolf by Night. And I'm not sure if they're the Midnight Suns or whatever the hell, but they always form these little teams. Marvel's doing it all the time. Everyone teams up, don't they? But they did it in a horror sort of genre. And I like that. So, having a swig of this, then I'm going to bring you guys around here and we're going to look at the trailer, which is superb. And looking at the forums, it seems to have gone down really well with everybody. I was a bit surprised by that because I thought, I'm loving this. I'm definitely all over this. But I don't think anyone else is going to like this. It's a bit too stylized. But no, it seems to have gone down an absolute storm. And it's due up, I think it's October 7th. Does it say on this? Doesn't. October 7th or something like that anyway. But Halloween month. So, and it is a Marvel sort of one shot. It's just a movie. But clearly it's going to introduce other characters and it could obviously explode into offshoots. Moon Knight. Moon Knight comes into the Werewolf by Night saga as well, I think. Cheers. Okay, let's bring you around here. So, get out of my face. Let's see if I nudge you up a little bit here. I think I've just knocked something over. Doesn't matter. Let's bring you guys in. I'm gonna have to lower this, I think, so that you guys can see. And I think I'm gonna move out of the way altogether. I think I'm knocking things over left, right, and centre here. All of a sudden, picture in picture seems like the far better option, doesn't it? How are you getting this? Oh, this could have gone so much better. Right, there we go. Oh, that's quite good, isn't it? Right, here's the trailer for it. I like that. Marvel Studios, a special presentation.
This Halloween, you can't escape the shock, the terror of Werewolf.
Look at that! Look at that font!
Tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Good luck. I'll be rotting for you.
Sort of a House on Haunted Hill style gimmick there.
Is a monster masquerading as one of our own. I can't wait to find out what breed.
You see the film's all jerky and breaking down. Oh!
You wanna see this?
Oh, an arm came off there.
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you!
The size of that paw then. Look! That was Man-Thing.
Werewolf by Night.
Oh, me likey. See that it all breaks up. You know what? We're gonna watch that again, folks. Let's do it all over again. Now, I hope you enjoyed that because I thought it was great. I hope you could see it as well. Right, here we go again.
This Halloween, you can't escape the shock, the terror of
He says shock there, not shark.
night.
Tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Good luck. I'll be rotting for you.
But one of you is a monster masquerading as one of our own. I can't wait to find out what breed of evil you are.
Nice cage.
You wanna see this, darling?
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you! Werewolf by Night.
There we go. Right. Well, that was a bit of a fiasco, wasn't it? Well, anyway, let's get back in the position. Oh, I'd lowered that, hadn't I? Let's bring it back up a wee bit. Let's try to do this as painlessly as possible. Well, folks, anyway, I hope you could see that. That was the trailer for Werewolf by Night. What do you reckon then? That's a gothic, excessive homage, isn't it? Hyper stylized. It's clearly comical. That baronial woman there, who's obviously summoned all these hunters. I don't know who she is. I don't know who the actress is. I don't know who the character is. But yeah, they've got somebody's in that cage there. I think we can guess who it is. And she gets dragged into it. Bang! Clang against the bars is brilliant. Then you see an arm come off. I presume that's hers because she gets dragged by the arm. But you see lots of sort of SS Gestapo, shiny leather suited goons who are obviously henchmen. And they're getting ripped to shreds by... You see the werewolf going in there and he's hailing people around. They've got weird sort of spears, electro cattle prod spear things as well. But he's ripping them a new one. The werewolf in question, he's played by Gael Garcia Bernal, who was, I don't know him at all. He was in the animated movie Coco, which incidentally, Michael Giacchino, who's directing this, he did the score for Coco. So, you know, whether that's they knew each other from that, I don't know. But either way, I'm happy with this. And I think you see that Gael, what's his name again? Gael Garcia Bernal. I think you see him in that because you see some guy's face changing, and he's like, and you zoom in on his eyes. Now, in the books, in the comic books, he's not like the big sort of Hugh Jackman, Van Helsing style werewolf. Or the type from Underworld. He's not a big towering, which by the way I think look great. I love them. He's just he's a man-sized sort of werewolf, and he's got the sort of ripped kecks, a bit like the Hulk. His jeans have ripped off, just below the knee sort of thing, and he's got a ripped, tattered shirt. He's still muscular and very wolf-like, but he's on two legs as well. And he does tear people to shreds. He does. He fights biker gangs and all sorts of stuff, like and drug dealers, but and special forces hitmen as well, if I remember rightly. But he's great at what he does. And but in this, I don't know how big they're going to show him. Now, if you looked at that, there were certainly moments where he goes into that room and there's like it's full of these goons, these henchmen, and he's vaulting over them. He looks just man-sized, but there was a shot of someone walking by a hedge. And this absolutely fucking huge paw with claws out there just goes like that and drags him in. That was big. I mean, if you put that in proportion, whatever that arm and paw belong to must be about 10 feet tall or more. So whether he gets bigger or whether he meets someone else, another werewolf, that might not even be a werewolf arm. That could have been some other beast. We don't know. Because there could be a secret that all these people that are sort of harbouring. It could all be monsters. But I think it looks great. I love all the little cigarette burns and the frazzles and the way the film just goes and fries up at the end. I like all that. I like the music to that trailer as well. And the music to that trailer does sound like a Giacchino score. It does to my ears anyway. I have a massive collection of Giacchino's stuff. So, you know, hopefully that is the kind of music. Tonally, I think it's all over the show. It looks campy. It looks over the top. It looks hyper stylized, pastiche, camp, and also really quite nasty. I think they're going to show a lot of gore in this. I think this is going to be a nasty movie, you know, in a good way. So without being too bloodthirsty, but I think you're going to see kills. And if the trailer itself actually shows an arm being sliced off as well, I think we're on the money with this one, methinks. I want some more music. Let me just get rid of this. Go away. Let's get something more appropriate. Let's have Elmer Bernstein's score for American Werewolf in London. But yeah. So who else is in it? Laura Donnelly. I think she plays the Elsa Bloodstone character, which I think she's the one you're seeing at the end there. She's got the kinky boots on, and she's cowering. She's obviously inside the cage at that point, and you see the shadows on the wall of, you know, big hairy paws ripping someone to bits, and she's cowering like that in the corner against the bars on the inside, and it's going to start coming towards her. Well, that's Laura Donnelly, and she was in Outlander and Beowulf: The Return. I can't comment because I gave up on Outlander after the first few episodes. I thought it was fucking awful, to be honest. Oh yeah, lots of kilts and the Highlands and all this, but oh god, what an absolute fucking female fantasy fucking wankfest that turned out to be. Garbage. And Beowulf: The Return. Oh dear god, that was even worse. But both of them had great music though. Anyway, cheers y'all. So, Werewolf by Night, what do you think about that then? This going to work? Do you think we could do another big review and possibly even a commentary? I did a commentary track over the top of Prey with no issues by YouTube or any copyright holders at all. So hopefully could do the same with this. It's got all the things I like about the werewolf genre. Big bipedal werewolf, savagery, a gothic sensibility to it. It's harking back to the Universal days. As I say, I'm not sure if the film itself is in black and white or whether they've just done that for the trailer. I don't know. I hope it is black and white because I think that would just really work. Having said that, of course, the comic books were, they were colour. I'm sure they were colour. Well, the more modern ones would definitely be in colour. The early ones, which I got when I was a kid, I seem to remember them being in colour as well. So it'd be more. Did you want to capture that look or go with the movie sort of style? That's a very definite movie homage there that they're doing. So I don't know. And you've got Man-Thing in there. I hope you saw that. I hope you saw it. It's a split second, and it's during a bit of a montage of the action flurry. You've got that big head, the guy with the big beard, the albino Rasputin, and he's going, "Oh, what are you?" or whatever. He starts shouting, and you see that Doctor Doom style character. The hood comes off, and there's a metal face there, isn't there? Is that Man, no, I don't know, do I? But metal face wearing a hood. Is it a way of introducing Doctor Doom? The thing about Marvel is everything is connected. Everything is connected. And they do these little one-offs that actually bring in other characters. So then they get their offshoots. It's just like, it's a hugely fertile ground. Anything that Marvel does is they're certainly thinking, if this is successful, but put this and this in. So we've already sown the seeds. Off it goes. So this could be like just the birthing place for a lot more monsters. Universal tried to do the dark, what did they call it? The Dark Universe. Was it Dark Universe? When he had Tom Cruise and the fucking mummy. Oh Christ. And what was it? Other one? Dracula. Oh God. With Luke. Is it Luke Evans? Welsh guy playing Dracula. And he was more of a romantic hero than anything else. that was their sort of stumbling into like this dark universe thing, which didn't work. It did not work. And they had ideas for a werewolf movie, the Jekyll and Hyde. Of course, Russell Crowe played the Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing, but in the Mummy, but it was absolute garbage. Is this their way of doing it? Moon Knight was stepping into this as well. Obviously, Sony have got Morbius, the Living Vampire. That didn't work out so well. Although the film seems to have a lot more fans than I gave it credit for. By the way, I thought it was garbage as well. I watched it. I thought it was absolute garbage. But it was nice looking garbage. But it was rubbish. It really was. And I'm not sure how the rights are going to sort of move on from that. Whether Disney and Marvel are going to retain or get back, regain any of these rights. I don't know how this is all going to work out. But you can see what they're doing now with that and bringing in Man-Thing as well. And these other characters, because whoever those hunters are, they are somebody that, whether they've been created for this movie itself or whether they actually genuinely are other members of the Marvel Universe who have been brought in. But whether they are or they aren't, there's a bigger game at play here. And I think it looks great. I can't wait for it. And I hope it is black and white. I hope it has got that off-kilter tone that you saw there. I hope it retains that. I mean, you've seen, Rob Zombie and the Monsters. Oh, Jesus Christ. When that first got touted, I sat and did a video on that, and I said, look, Rob Zombie could make this work. This could be great. And yeah, he's going to eschew all his grindhouse and nasty sort of roots, and he's going to do a family, cozy horror comedy, because he loves the Munsters. I love the Munsters. He's a genuine fan of the Munsters TV show, and he was going to pay it respect. And then that trailer came out, and you didn't see me talk about it because I just couldn't bring myself to. I could not believe what I was looking at. That was the worst made. Even fan-made stuff is infinitely better. Even with my hokey lack of technological expertise, I could do far better than what he came up with for that trailer. If he'd come out afterwards and said, like, by the way, folks, that trailer was a joke. This is the real trailer. I would have loved that, but that didn't happen. Oh, no. That did not happen. That trailer, if you haven't seen it, well, maybe you shouldn't, but to see what I'm talking about, maybe go and have a look at Rob Zombie's The Munsters trailer. Sweet Jesus Christ, that is absolute garbage. Not only does it look terrible, but it sounds terrible, and the acting is god-awful. The line delivery and the comedy, it misses by an absolute mile. If you played it in black and white, it might look better, but it's really gaudy, day-glow colours that just don't work. It looks like it's been shot just in his garage, the whole thing. It was just terrible. So that's how not to do an old school pastiche, but with modern technology. That was not how to do it. That, for Werewolf by Night, that looked amazing. Well filmed, well shot, but with that sort of arch, sort of throwback style. And that font for Werewolf of London, it looks just like that. The font and title card for Werewolf of London, and a lot of those old Universal movies, that's how they look, and it's gorgeous. So for people like me, and a lot of you guys I know, who are massive Universal horror fans, this is nectar. This is manna from heaven or hell. It depends on one's point of view. Cheers, y'all. Let's just pause and take in a bit of Elmer Bernstein's fabulous music. I want to go on to, where's the scariest one I always find? When this is eerie. Going to East Proctor. But is it this? Nope. Is it that? Is it this? I've got a problem because the way this has gone on to my playlist, it just says track numbers. It doesn't say what the actual tracks are called. Mainly because, folks, as you well know, you cannot get officially an American Werewolf in London, the score by Elmer Bernstein. At least not yet, you can't. Where the hell is this bit of music? Is it this? Nope. I'm going to find this, folks. Oh, here we go. And this is when Jack comes to visit David in Nurse Price's flat in London, Jenny Agatha's flat. And it's even more twisted. He's more decomposed at this stage. He picks up the Mickey Mouse doll. David! He says, like, David's like, what? You know. It's really horribly melodic and yet twisted and dark. And then Bernstein brings in an even dark element when he's going to say something. Look, you're going to become a monster. You've got to kill yourself, David. It's all over the show, and it's like twisting. I'm shivering. Bernstein, the master of so many westerns. One of my favourite scores of all time. Well, two of my favourite scores of all time: True Grit and Zulu Dawn. Elmer Bernstein, fantastic. Saturn 3. I mean, I know he's done way more than what I just mentioned there, but it's his darker stuff. He did the orchestral music for Thriller, of course. Directed by John Landis, who directed American Werewolf in London. He also did the music for Animal House, directed by John Landis. Listen to that, the little piano notes. And this, oh, it's like... Because David is going to turn into that there. This dude. Werewolves, mate. They're the biggest, best of monsters. I've always loved werewolves since I was a kid. The vast majority of videos I've done, I think, if they're not on Jaws or John Carpenter, they revolve around lycanthropes, whether it's masks or the movies themselves. And yeah, and the thing is, you know, if you could be a monster, what would you be? Would you be a vampire? You wouldn't want to be a zombie, would you? And fucking decomposing. You don't want that shit happening to you. Bits dropping off all the time. You know, you're always hungry, but how can you eat? How do zombies actually eat? Well, what happens? Where does it go? It doesn't get digested. Does it just fucking fall out the holes in their body? What happens to it? They never address that now, do they? You don't see piles of zombie shite all over the apocalyptic wasteland, do you? No. Or do you want to be a killer shark? What do you want to be? Do you want to be Swamp Thing or Man Thing? No. You want to be a werewolf, don't you? Werewolves. They're great. Big, powerful, insatiable, ravenous beasts. Superhuman strength, speed, agility, stealth, cunning, hypersenses. Oh yeah, that's what I want to be. And again, I want to be the upright one. The likes of The Howling. The likes of this movie, perhaps, Werewolf by Night. He's not on four legs, this guy. You might see him run on four legs, perhaps. Benicio del Toro, a great move in the Wolfman remake by Steve Johnson. Which I love the remake. It's a massively flawed film. I've discussed this a lot already. I know I have. Whichever version you watch, the director's cut or the theatrical cut, they're both badly flawed. And elements in the director's cut, the extended version, because they still keep all the plot elements of the theatrical cut, there's a huge new prologue bit which destroys the continuity of the full longer version. And it really does make a travesty of it. Doesn't matter. The werewolf looks amazing, looks brilliant. Del Toro is fantastic. Score by Danny Elfman's great, and the effects are wonderful as well. But he's upright, he's big, he's powerful, he's muscle bound, he's got a big back and shoulders on him, and he looks nasty and mean. And when he runs, he lopes on all fours. And I just thought that was great way of doing it. They cut a lot of those scenes out though, and I've discussed this before, I know, but we're here now. Let's reminisce. They would have him on a sort of like a travelator, like a conveyor belt like you get in the airports when you're carrying all your luggage, but it's moving at speed. And they'd have stuntman dressed in the gear, running along on all fours along that. So he's getting pulled at high speed. So when you film it, it looks like he's doing the running at really top fucking full belt, like a bloody cheetah, and looks amazing. But there were scenes where he chases after a London bobby who's on horseback outside the oh god, what's it called? The Winter Palace, Winter Garden, where the opera singer, again a big sequence cut out, the bit with the opera singer, one of the best deleted scenes I have ever seen. Put it back in. It's just genius. When he walks in, striding tall, 9 foot tall, like strides in, and then they're all going, wow, great costume you're wearing, because it's a masked ball, but they've got a blind soprano singing, and he's transfixed by her voice. He just saunters up to her, but then some guy gets in the way and he puts his fangs into his skull, hurls his body around, and then Inspector Aberline, played by Lord Elrond, and Agent Smith, the real guy's name I have forgotten, of course, comes in and he legs it out. But it's clearly from that, so that entire sequence is cut out. But then you would have had a shot of him outside, loping after a British bobby on horseback, and fucking hell, it looks amazing. Why did he take these bits out? Why did they not work? Looking at the deleted scenes, they work perfectly well. Anyway, folks, I have digressed. So what have we learned here today? That I'm definitely an alcoholic. I cannot move the camera around with stealth and cunning. It was clumsy as fuck, wasn't it? I love werewolves, and I want to be one. And we've got a great werewolf movie coming in only a few weeks' time. Wow. So all the yous who were like, oh, Halloween ends, evil dies tonight. No, I'll be out there going, Werewolf by night. Kilt-Man by day, but Werewolf by night. I'm not entirely sure which one's scarier, the Kilt-Man by day or the Werewolf by night. I wouldn't trust either of them, to be honest. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I think it looks great. So please let me know below what you think. Message me. A lot of you do. In fact, I was messaged about this trailer dropping overnight. Me and Mr. Kilt-Man were at a party all last night, bopping our little arses off. We were. It was great do. And so we come back pissed as farts, and I woke up about 3 a.m, just over there on the kitchen floor. just over there with the dog, the husky, Roxy the Wonder Dog, lying next to me. That's devotion for you. Because I'd thrown up all over the place. No, I hadn't. But and then I managed to crawl my carcass upstairs to bed, and then I opened my eyes bleary at about 5:30 this morning. So only a couple of hours after. When you're pissed, you don't sleep properly, do you? So I woke up, and there was a message on my phone of our good friend of the channel, Steve 77 Smith, saying, "Have you seen this? Looks interesting." And it was the trailer for Werewolf by Night, and I thought, whoa, I'm having that, yeah. And then I fell asleep and dreamt of werewolves and whiskey. That would be the title of my remake of The Beast Must Die. The Beast must drink werewolves and whiskey, you know. So, folks, there you go. I have been on with Shabby Kilt-Man, talking irreverently, stupidly, and non-stoppedly. So, please keep it Kilt and keep it Celtic. If you got one of these, raise it now. But it's always great to hear about another werewolf movie coming out. We've got that Ryan Gosling modern day take on the Wolfman, the original Wolfman story. But what's happening with that? Anything? Does anyone know what's happening with that? It was bigged up. I don't even know. I did videos on this and I can't remember who's directing it. That's probably changed hands or changed paws several times since that last video. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully it goes ahead. You just want the great werewolf movie that's genuinely frightening, horrifying, gory, great effects, and also does deliver everything. You want thrills and chills and suspense. It doesn't even need to be gothic, but that's great. This one's gonna do that, presumably, by the looks of things, but with a heightened sort of, you know, weirdness to it. At least by that, you've got these Nazi-clad, you know, henchmen and all this kind of stuff, and there's definitely some kind of technology in there going on. When I'm saying it's set in 1930s or 40s, I don't know that. That's the way it looks. But then these guys look kind of like, well, these are like sort of a modern day, you know, Fourth Reich. Very Germanic, very Nazi style, aren't they? And you had, you know, Ilse, she-wolf, she-bitch of the Nazis, you know, from the old video nasties. Did I not just... Have I started this video again? Haven't I? I said goodbye about 10 minutes ago. Dear Lord. What did I say about Unstoppable? There you go. This is the unused Bernstein track for America Melt. This is the Metamorphosis track. So when David Norton, playing David Kessler, undergoes his first in-camera transformation, Rick Baker's fantastic effects, this would have been playing. Of course, in the movie that we all know and love, it's actually, oh God, Blue Moon playing. But this, and you can pair it up, you can play that scene with this track over the top of it and see how it would have worked. But it would have changed the tone of the movie quite a lot, because it's the longest piece of music that Bernstein wrote for the movie. There's not much music in the movie that is actual score, and a lot of it's repeated. The East Proctor theme is repeated several times, and most of the cues are very, very short. But this is huge. This is over 5 minutes, this cue. And it's really toweringly bravura. But it would have, you can see where they dropped it. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the movie and the score. There are songs in there, all referenced, you know, to full moons and Bad Moon Rising and all that kind of stuff. So this kind of goes against the grain and would have changed the tone of the film. The visuals of that transformation are effective enough, shocking enough to have. This would perhaps have. It's weird how you think how these things. When someone is making a movie, editing it, looking at it, directing it, and then in the cold light of day, what we thought there, that's actually derailed it. The visuals enough of that transformation are so shocking that to add this shocking music on top of it would perhaps have cancelled it out, and it would have been just too much. And people are going, oh, I'm actually getting quite bored of this now. It's funny how things happen like that. If you look at The Exorcist, William Friedkin's The Exorcist, and you have the terrifying or the shock moments of the phone call, which Regan's mum gets, and then it cuts to, in the full version, the spider walk down the stairs, and they cut that out initially because it was a double shock, and it didn't work because one shock cancelled out the shock of the first moment, so he didn't need that again. You know, it's just dilute it. Of course, we all love the spider walk sequence, so it's funny how it turns around. But in this particular case, I think they perhaps did the right thing, because that soundtrack, the music and the score, so the music and the songs that are in it work beautifully. They interweave perfectly. With this, the score would take over. So folks, this was meant to be a video about Werewolf by Night. But it took in a lot more werewolfery. So, I'm doing one now. You guys, keep it Celtic, and I am going to see you all. Leaders! Yeah. Werewolf by night, but Kilt-Man by day. It is a terrifying, terrifying duality, is it not?